I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just for the next call. Anyone here for open forum?
Yeah, it's being recorded. It's being recorded, the meeting. It's being recorded by Westborough. Oh.
This meeting is being recorded by Westborough TV. Anyone here for open forum? No? Are you here for open forum?
My name is Douglas Wales. I'm a citizen of Westborough. I'm interested in the community center and the senior center, and I'm really sitting in as a guest today to just observe the Council on Aging and see what you do.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Did you get that? Okay. Next on the agenda is approval and or discussion about the last month's minutes.
Discussion?
I know, I copied yours, because you have a copy of yours?
Yes.
Everyone had a suggestion?
Yeah, so the minutes were fine, they were brief, but I think whenever we have an action, and I'm sure I did this wrong and sent it to the wrong, either too few people, too many people, I don't know. But anyway, I do think we should put in action items when we have some. So in the case of our, it was part of the 2023 research. We achieved one of our goals, which is finding information that everyone could use, and I think we just need to document we need to somehow now get that out, whether it's through the, town website or, because I think that's where we live. But I think it's time to kind of get that information out to everyone. So I do think when something's finished or when there's an action item, I just think we should have that on the minutes.
So, something specific like an action item where it's something to take action on, that's not really something that would go into the minutes. The minutes are really just a brief overview of everything that was talked about, but like at a high level of information. They're not meant to have like a plan for the future, like in them, as in like something, if there's no, I don't know what the word is, but we're not calling for action in the minutes. It's just supposed to be what was discussed in the actual meeting.
So then what?
I disagree with that.
So where does action start?
I think it really depends on what you're talking about. If part of the discussion was, like, that's a very concrete, specific example. If part of the discussion was the resource that was identified, there was a basically a directive for it to be posted on the website, that's really a staff action. So I think as part of your discussion, that would then fall to Kendra. So from that standpoint, that's the action item. I think if there are other things that are action items, they typically will fall into a couple of categories. So things that staff will kind of follow through and complete, posting things on the website. If there's, sometimes there have been conversations where maybe there's a follow-up, a letter to be sent or drafted, things like that. I think that gets captured in the minutes. Other things, as far as action items, they would potentially show up as future agenda items as well. So I think there are categories and it's dependent. If the intent is to have sort of a separate tracking of things that the council is looking to do and follow through on, oftentimes with most boards and committees, that doesn't sit necessarily in the minutes, except for what I just described. It's more of sort of an outside, Kendra would track things.
But if it's not documented, then where does it go? Like, I'll give you a good example. I won't give you, I trust Kendra would follow up on this, but it's a month after the meeting and we achieved one of our items, right? It was one of our 2023 items was to get this communication out into the town. So how do we make sure that it happens short of like, bugging Kendra?
I mean, in that specific case, I actually just had John Klingenstein, the program and engagement coordinator, sit with IT to get a lesson on how to upload things to the town's website. So that would go through him. I just, before we post any resources, want to make sure that they're totally vetted and that it's, we're not advertising a product necessarily, but like a resource, something more like Elder Services of Worcester or Springwell, or Meals on Wheels. But he just I think last week he took a class on how to use the town's website to be able to upload stuff like that to it.
See, it's funny because I look at it kind of like a happy thing. We achieved a goal and we have an action item. So that's to me was worthy of minuting, if you will. But you can do it as you please. And I wanted to just follow up from this as well. I did speak to their publisher, David Bagden, and he said they have a limited amount left of the elder care guides, but anybody who wants them for their community can reach out and get them for the community, the printed version that we showed last week. And that he does 10,000 in October, 10,000 in March, and he's glad to take a look and make sure they get into the communities in the future. So just to follow up on that item. So that's a nice, delightful little completed item that should be under our feel-good things, but maybe minutes aren't for feel-good things, I don't know.
Well, no, that happened after the meeting though.
Right.
So I think that's worth, one of the agenda items is for members to report back on things, and I think that would potentially sit
Got it.
under that.
For this meeting.
Okay.
Because if it happened after the meeting, it wouldn't necessarily be appropriate to include it in the meeting minutes.
Okay,
So we could include it in this meeting.
But I think those are the types of things we were envisioning, that ability for members to report back and any follow-up, things going on in the community, that, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but whatever item that is on the agenda.
like for example, I do know, the minute Kendra leaves here, she has a million things, good, bad, and otherwise to deal with. So I just want to make sure that certain things wouldn't, get lost, that it would make
No,
it to John or the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Kendra's responsibility.
All right.
No, but I think it was helpful to raise that, because I think there are times though when there is a separate, I think the council is having more discussion and there's more idea generation of things that you might wanna look at or get more information and bring back in the future. And those are definitely the types of things that usually with boards and committees, whoever is, staff, in this case it's Kendra, would be keeping track of those things. And sometimes it's let's bring them back when we have time in the agenda, or let's bring them back, things that very definitely want back at the next meeting. So I think working through the chair to get things on the agenda at the appropriate time is part of what you would do as well.
Okay, so we can include it in this month's minutes
Under
and
the,
have it as an ongoing periodic update.
I mean, yeah, it's sort of a done action
It
item.
won't be lost if we have it periodically updated.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I mean, it's your choice, it's kind of a done item, but
Right.
up to you.
okay, well, you're in this one.
All right.
Your suggestion is in this one. Linda, Jimson?
My only contribution to the conversation is you can pick them up all over town. We have them in our church. I've seen them in the library. I've seen them at the supermarkets. I mean, there's nothing that I feel is spectacular in these things, but that's just my opinion.
Well, remember, we did discuss the online reference, which is, I realize
Springwell.
not everybody has access to that or chooses to have access to that, but Springwell keeps a pretty comprehensive,
I don't have a computer
List.
in my home,
right, no, I understand.
but I manage to keep up to date with.
Yeah, I think the idea is we wanna make sure there's a variety of ways that people get their information. And so we wanna just make sure that, that print resource, people are aware of that. And then that we also know for people who may be more comfortable going online, family members who may not be local and can access information that way. So I think part of what we heard from the study was making sure that we have multiple ways in which people can access information.
Okay, so where are we as far as approving the last month's minutes? So you have any motion?
Move to accept the minutes of
April 13th.
April 13th.
Is there a second?
I second.
We have 2 seconds.
As amended with Evie's.
As a-
Is your motion to accept them as amended?
Move to accept the April 13th minutes as amended.
Okay, I didn't hear the as
And I
amended.
second it.
Okay,
You have all in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Next we have Director of Senior and Social Services, Director report.
So in March, the Westborough Senior Center had a total of 353 rides, which is a 58 ride increase over the month of February. As I kind of suspected, I think as the weather gets nicer, that will just continue to be the case. I think that we probably have a lot of folks who don't really get out and about when there's ice or bad weather, so that was kind of to be expected. April had an average daily attendance of 56.2 people. We had 192.5 volunteer hours worked. We had 426 individuals visit 1,468 times. And myself and Catherine Cowden, the outreach worker, visited the Vail School for Community Reader Day. We hosted Cinco de Mayo, which was funded by the Massachusetts Councils on Aging grant. It was really great, and we really appreciate Carmen, who also teaches the Spanish and Italian classes here, for helping getting all of that off the ground. We had 35 people that came in for lunch. Every Tuesday for this month, we're showing a military-themed movie, which is because of Memorial Day. So last week we showed 1917. Tomorrow we are showing part 1 of a Marine Corps documentary, and next Tuesday is part 2, and then the final movie will be Hacksaw Ridge. We have been celebrating a bunch of different things with Tammy's Asian Outreach Group. So we celebrated Golden Week, which is a week of Japanese holidays, and then also Songkran, which is a Thai holiday. She shared snacks and food and movies and different educational tools, as well as some origami and different crafts. We also had dinner with Harvey Leonard. He had a crowd of 50 people that came to hear him speak. No one was more excited than Catherine Cowden, the outreach worker. And he did this program for free, as he has done in the past, which is we appreciate very much. It was very nice of him to make time for us. I won't list all of the new programs that we have coming up, but some of the exciting ones are we're starting an Italian class for travelers, and that is also with Carmen, who teaches our Spanish class currently. We are doing the breakfast with the police tomorrow. They're bringing up a cruiser, and they're going to show everybody the inside of the cruiser, what it looks like, how it works, and then they're also, I think, bringing the drone with them. As long as the weather is good, they'll kind of show that off as well, which is really cool. The Senior Center supporters are hosting May Tea on May 19th. If you have not got your ticket already, they are unfortunately sold out. They have sold 80 tickets, which is really fantastic for them. We have a really exciting opportunity. We have a NASA scientist coming on June 18th to talk about Mars. He's the foremost expert on Mars, which is very interesting, and we're really looking forward to that. John, we're going to introduce everybody to John more formally with Root Beer Floats, kind of an informal drop-in program, which will be great. And everybody will have the official calendar of our Summer Tuesday events on the next newsletter cover. But just so that people have a heads up, we are doing a USA barbecue, a regular bingo dinner, a music bingo dinner. We are doing 2 summer fun dinners, which are just summer themed with live music. We have the luau dinner with the police and the fire department. I have a sports writer coming to do a baseball dinner and talk about the history of the Red Sox. And then our last dinner will be square dancing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The summer fun,
So we have live music that's coming. It's gonna be soft music, guitar, piano, and singing.
Oh.
More of a background music kind of
And then
evening.
baseball then?
So there's a sports writer who lives in Northborough. He is going to come and talk about the history of the Boston Red Sox.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Any other questions for Kendall? Great. I have a couple. How to bring out in the Asset Valley? Regarding the bus station?
Valley. Oh, the high school. The high school.
Okay.
I was like, it was what Diane asked how John and I made out with the Assabet Technical High School when we took a tour to talk about them printing the newsletter. It was really great. They are going on summer break, but it is my hope that starting when the kids are back in school, we will be able to move over to use them for printing. I was really impressed with the materials that they had. We're also going to try to work together to start doing monthly field trips over to Assabet as well to bring over a group of students, or a group of seniors for lunch with the students. But I was really impressed by all of the programs that they have there. John and I had a great tour, and it was really informative. I didn't know that they had so much to offer.
And the paper quality was better than what was getting out.
It was very nice. It was professional, like high quality magazine quality.
Excited to hear that.
Yeah.
The square dance, is that Fairs and Squares from Framingham?
Yes, it is.
Back to the aspect, so if they're on vacation though for a couple of months, what would we do for the newsletter for those months if we go with them?
So when I talked to them, the plan would be to do one summer publication. So they would print it before they went home for summer break, and then we would just have one edition for the summer.
Awesome.
I have one other question. I got a call the other night, senior asking, when's our shredding day? Normally it's in April, and we didn't have it.
Yeah, so we do get that question quite a bit. It is one of the most expensive things that the senior center can put on. It's over $1,000 to have a shredding truck come here for the day. So I've held off at this point because it seems like most of the banks in town do provide a shredding day for their customers. But the cost is a little bit prohibitive. It's just too expensive, and we've reached out to quite a few of the companies around, and the price stays consistent. Yes, it's just hard because we're spending such a large amount of money on one day, and I feel that it's not encouraging people to come in and participate in the senior center. Like it's more of a drop their stuff off and go. And we have noticed that most of the banks in town or in the area do have a shredding day for their
I think the
customers.
library has one too. Periodically.
Oh,
The
I
library
was able to go to Northborough to a video bank a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to take all the shredding I had for a year over there.
Central One does have one, they're monthly from May till the next 4 months.
Do they accept
Prescription.
expired prescriptions?
And what is this?
The banks
expired
don't.
prescriptions.
No, the banks don't.
No,
They don't.
but you
Take it
can
to
drop it off, I was gonna say,
CVS.
you can drop it off at CVS anytime. CVS will take expired prescriptions.
Thank you.
Just in general, the dinners, the Tuesday night dinners, what time, is it the same starting time every Tuesday?
They'll all generally start at 5:30.
5:30.
Yes. Yes, and there will be transportation available through the senior center for anybody who does need it. And there are going to be 8 dinners. If someone were to attend all 8 dinners, the total cost for the summer would be $70 for 8 meals with the entertainment.
Just a follow-up, regarding the homemaker issue, are the caregivers still going to get one meal, or is that program done?
It will be done when the summer starts,
So,
yes.
I just want to clarify that. Any other questions? make a motion to accept the
Sorry,
director's.
one last thing, Memorial Day coming up. Are we supplying the veterans bus as well?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to accept committee's report?
Emily, I accept the director's report.
Second,
Say
motion to-
Oh, I motion to accept the
Motion to
director's
accept.
report as is.
seconded, Marilyn, all in favor? Aye,
One other thing, just in terms of upcoming events, the annual block party is expanded this year to include fireworks. So we will have another meeting before that happens at the end of June. But it is the annual block party that happens in the downtown with the additional celebration for the 250th anniversary, fireworks and all of that good stuff. So more details to come, but it is Friday, I want to make sure I say the right date, 26th.
June 26th.
Yes,
June
Friday,
26th.
June 26th.
where are the fireworks?
I believe they have, working with public safety folks and the fireworks company, they have identified a couple of spots. I believe the preferred location is to set them off from behind the building, in the field. What they will do though is they are now working on identifying viewing spots where people can drive and park. So that will be, coming out as well.
Behind what building?
This one.
In the
Mission
field,
Yeah,
yes.
the baseball field.
Oh, the field behind. Which I believe in years past, there have been firework events that have gone off up here. We don't,
I don't think,
not in the
They-
near, not in the
they-
recent past.
no.
They used to have it at the high school.
They couldn't, that location
And the
didn't.
last one is for the 300th anniversary of the town, it was over at Chauncey. That was the big one.
But there'll be lots more information, all sorts of good stuff. I think one of the things we're hoping is that obviously with a lot of participation expected to be much higher, there will be guidance from public safety folks on different locations to go and where there are road closures, because I know it can be challenging. People don't anticipate those and are trying to get to their viewing spot. So again, that's all the info that will be coming out. Well, then you should post.
We'll get there. My next meeting there. Okay, next on the agenda is open meeting law requirements by Sarah.
Yeah, I just wanted to, in light of the way that we're getting feedback, which I think is a very positive thing, on minutes, we talked about the best way to streamline the process of distributing and receiving information so that we don't risk any potential open meeting law violations. One of the things that is sometimes hard to wrap your head around is any conversation, even if it's deliberation in email, is viewed very broadly. So anything beyond scheduling meetings, things like that in email, if there's any back and forth between members, it could be construed as deliberation under the open meeting law. So sending of edits to minutes to the full group could be construed as deliberation. So to try to make sure that there's no potential risk for a claim that open meeting law was violated, and talking with Kendra and Diane, for a staff member to send out minutes and receive any comments, that is the safest way to do it. It's acceptable. And then certainly if there are things like typos or a factual correction, typically staff would be able to incorporate that and share that back in a final version and advise the board that that edit was made. But the other piece of this is also then Kendra and Diane have talked about, the agenda would come out from Kendra as well. It just streamlines, one, it takes the burden off of Diane, but that's just typically how we operate with most boards and committees. So one of the things when it comes out from Kendra, we would blind CC in the email, which means if anybody inadvertently hits reply all, it does not go back to the entire board, it would just go to Kendra. So I think that's what we proposed is moving forward. Again, this is just more a precaution, and I think it's, again, it seems like there's more email is being used to a greater extent than it had in the past, and so we just thought now would be the time to bring this up as a way to sort of change how we've been doing it.
So if you wanna add something to the agenda, you'd contact Kendra, is that what you're saying? And then who decides?
It's the chair. The chair, under open
Diane.
meeting law, the agenda is set by the chair. That's why usually the way, I think it's been happening here, there have been suggestions during discussion to bring things back on a future agenda. And my impression is most of those things have been scheduled. So you can certainly make recommendations to Kendra. Kendra could have the conversation with Diane, but under the chair sets the agenda.
Okay.
Well, Kendra and I have been working together on the agenda anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, no different.
So, just so that I'm sorry.
So I just have another question because there was something that was said at the last meeting and I don't know whether I missed it. But I thought that we were gonna be given information about what selectmen meeting was gonna have the discussion about the new building.
Yep.
And I didn't hear anything about that, so.
So the board's agenda was posted this past Friday, and they're meeting tomorrow night. They're going to have a conversation about it.
Okay,
So their agenda wasn't posted prior to you receiving your agenda.
okay, so it's tomorrow night.
We weren't discussing that until after the select board decides what the plan is. So, that's why it wasn't on this agenda. So the select board meeting is tomorrow night. I noticed it's a hybrid meeting.
It is.
So does that mean not all the selectmen are in person there or they're
Potentially.
remote?
It allows for a quorum of the board to be remote.
Okay, so we can do it either remotely as well if we wanna go on MS Teams or whatever. Or we can watch on channel 28 with Verizon or if there's another channel for Charter, you can watch it there.
You
Because it
can,
is a live stream.
yes, you can watch it, you just can't interact.
Unless you're signed in to Microsoft Teams.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So from my standpoint, because I'm sort of new to this whole thing, I wouldn't know to go on to the town website and check on when the agenda was gonna be posted and what was gonna be on the agenda. I kind of got the impression that this whole group was gonna get told by somebody when it was gonna be brought up.
So that was going to happen a little bit later on the agenda, on today's agenda.
Oh,
So it's not a specific item, but we're going to let you know. So again, the select board's agenda was posted on Friday. I was out of town, so this is the first opportunity.
okay,
So
all right, so I get it.
It was
It
on
was
our-
coming, it was
on our
coming, I
agenda.
jumped, okay, all right,
It's on our side notes agenda.
okay.
So you can either attend it in person or view it on TV.
Mhm.
They have, does everyone have Verizon or Charter or something? Spectrum.
It's
also
still
28.
That's
If you
true.
have
Verizon is on 28.
Charter is
192.
192.
192.
If you're more of an online person, you can live stream it from YouTube as well or log in to the Teams,
Right.
which is, the Teams link is posted in the agenda on the town's
Or
website.
you can go there in person.
Or you can go
since
there.
we're talking about it now, so it is listed as agenda item. So tomorrow night, the board's meetings start at 6 o'clock. When they post the agendas, just so you're aware, they do put times on the agenda. Those are intended to be best guess based on how we think things will go. They don't always go that way. And I just closed out of the agenda, so let me just get back to here I am.
So it's supposed to be 7:05,
Yeah, thank you.
estimate.
So if they're running a little ahead, it could be a little earlier. If they're running a little bit long, it could be a little bit later. But as I had mentioned at the last meeting, one of their goals was, the select board's goals is to determine next steps related to the community center and a timeline for bringing it forward to the community. Specifically, it needs to go to town meeting for funding. So that conversation will start tomorrow night.
Is there no more channel 24?
Yes, that's the Verizon number.
24 is our public channel.
So it's 28
28 is our government channel.
There you go.
28 is for government meetings on Verizon. I think it's what, 192 is it?
192.
On Charter for government meetings, because they have different channels for public and whatever. So,
192 or 198?
192.
192 for Charter.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
And just a reminder, if anybody is not able to watch it live tomorrow night, it is recorded and you can watch it later too.
Would there be any benefit for any of us to actually attend in person? I mean, there's an opportunity for
It's not a public hearing. I don't think they're intending to take comments, but I certainly would encourage, if you're interested in attending in person, it's nice to have an audience.
But there's no opportunity for.
That's okay, let them see our bright and shiny faces.
There is open forum at the beginning of the meeting, but certainly that's the beginning of the meeting, so anybody is welcome to speak at that.
That's exciting.
Do all committees have open forum?
You're not required to have it, but we do have guidelines for any committees that do choose to have it.
Because I happened to be flipping around one night and I saw the exciting planning board meeting. That one. Anyway,
So, yeah.
I digress.
The other thing I would mention is, I know I just briefly touched on open meeting law and anticipating that we on a, not necessarily an annual basis, but we have a couple of resources that do provide some in-person training. And I know since we've had some new membership on this committee, I'm not sure that it's been offered, so we were just looking at where we are in the cycle and would likely be looking to host a training in the coming months. I don't have a specific time frame, but I can certainly, I'll keep the committee apprised of when that may happen. And then I also do have some links to some online tutorials if anybody's interested.
I was gonna ask, the last one that I have a record of was May 15th of '23, and my notes say that it was recorded. So
Yes.
would that recording be a Westborough TV recording and still be around?
It is.
So then,
Yep.
if somebody wanted to, they could go.
And there are some other ones. That was one that we had our town council came out and did a presentation specifically for us here in person. There are also some that are done by the state, by the, I believe the Attorney General's office, and they might be a little bit shorter. Those are also available on the state's website. So there's a few different resources.
We all set with open meeting and the general idea of, yeah. Carol, do you have any update with the
Lots.
TV show?
I have lots. So it's going along very well. The name is The Next Chapter, People, Stories, and Possibilities for Westborough Seniors. I have lined up people for up through September. And so Kendra's gonna be the first one next week, May 20th. Then in June, it's gonna be Westborough Pickleball with Carol Bishop, who is in charge of the courts and how people play. In July, it's gonna be the Dial 911 Demystifying with Fire Chief Purcell. In August 5th, it's Downsizing with Ann Newberry, who's with Home Solutions.
That's a good.
And then in September, end of September 23rd, it's gonna be Medicare 2027 with Bill LaPrade, who's our Shine Counselor. And I was going to ask if we could have a space in the newsletter where we list, and then every time, the next month I'll drop the old one and add the new one.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and also list the channels
List the
that it can be
channels, yeah.
seen on, because we were out talking, before I came to the movie last week. And people were like, well, how do we know when it's gonna be on and all that kind of thing, so.
I think we should have a regular thing where the town channels are there, period.
I mean, I'll probably have the calendar at the end of every show,
Yeah.
but somebody has to be able to actually going to the show, but they may not be interested in that particular one. So if I could do it in the newsletter every time and update it.
We could definitely find a small space to just have like
Yeah.
a quick bullet about
Absolutely.
what, yeah.
Okay, great.
That's
Did you,
great.
I know there was some discussion about logo.
Oh, yes, so Aiden is working on the graphics and
They'll be
you'll
amazing.
be delighted to hear that they're gonna let us have music.
Wow.
That was my suggestion.
Yes, Diane suggested now. I couldn't
think we-
remember which one you told me,
It
but
was a taste of honey that
yeah, well,
because
there's
it's
loyal,
really zippy.
yeah, there's loyalty issues, but I did say, let's try to find something zippy.
Yeah, something like that. I was thinking maybe, we do have a music department in Westborough. Maybe check with some of them, maybe they can come up with a zippy intro and exit music.
Well, we're gonna start next
Okay.
week, so.
No, I'm just,
But it's nothing's, nothing can be adjusted going forward, but let's
no, I'm
just-
glad the music will be in it.
Yeah.
It's,
but I think we started with a good list of interesting things for seniors. Cause I know that other people were concerned about the more active seniors, but I certainly think there's gonna be something in it, most of the shows for everybody, so.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's see how I do.
Oh, no,
Well done.
what is the date of the first show?
It's
May
next
20th.
next Wednesday, the 20th.
Wow.
The recording's gonna be done at 10 in the morning. And then when it's available on the channels, I'm not really sure, but
So there's just once a month.
yeah, right now it's
Yeah,
one
no,
day.
that's enough. That's enough.
Maybe Aiden can, once it's recorded, when does it go up live or whatever?
Usually, we try to get it as soon as possible, and then it will just run until we tape the next one. So if we record on a Monday, we could get it up by that Friday, and then it will also have a certain time of day that we could choose, or you guys could choose on. On Mondays we wanted it 4 o'clock. Tuesdays we wanted it at 1:30. You could do that kind of thing. So we haven't gotten that far yet. But you could have a schedule that could go out that people know, okay, this month's episode is gonna be on these days at this time. And then that's when it will play forever, basically.
Now, you guys promote on all of your available things. Do you also promote on like Wicked Wild Women of Westborough and some of those?
Yep, we do Best of Westborough and the Heart of Westborough.
And not Wicked Wild Women?
No,
Okay,
no, we're admins on Best of Westborough, and
okay.
so those go right up.
That's news to me. Wild women?
No, it's called Wicked Wild Women of Westborough. It's like a pretty happening site, so we may want to promote that when it comes out on some of these other sites.
I think what we typically do, our approach is we'll push it out through the town's different social media platforms.
Perfect.
And then the expectation is other people can find it there.
Got it.
You could take it and post it to.
Well,
Yeah, things,
and then-
things can be shared from the Westborough TV Facebook as well.
What is that?
it's a Facebook page. It's a very active community of Women in Westborough, but it's very active. You name it and it's up there. I mean, there's moms and dads of Westborough.
What do they
There's-
do?
It's just a website, so people
Oh,
are.
just a website.
Well, it's a Facebook page. No, it's a Facebook
Oh,
page, so
okay.
all people are doing is, check out this restaurant, or I just went here, or whatever. So it's just like a buzz in Westborough. Best hairdresser, whatever.
It just caught our attention, Wild Women from Westborough.
Wicked Wild Women of
Wicked-
I think
www.
it's wise.
Oh, Wicked Wise Women, see? Shows you the kind of wild girl I
That makes a difference.
am. Wicked Wise Women of Westborough, www.
Okay, so
So also,
Central to
I
the
put out a list of suggested shows, but I'm open to suggestions from the committee at any time I'd like to do more of the staff here at the center, so probably that'll be October.
Is the layout, is it gonna be like one constant topic, or will it have like a topic and then maybe highlighting
It's interviews,
all interviews?
it's an
Okay,
interview,
perfect.
and it's gonna be sitting in easy chairs instead of at a table.
Good.
With a table in between for a bottle of water if you need it. And they also said if you goof up, they'll just fix it.
Outstanding.
So we're gonna give it a shot.
And there was an elder services attorney here last week. And I heard good reviews about that. So maybe
Give me a name.
that person, I think her last name was Newton.
Liz, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She's local, I think Norfolk.
Yeah, because I do have topics that would be great for somebody like
Yeah.
that, so
So that would be.
I'll get her name.
Yeah, John, if you ask John, he has all our contacts.
Okay,
So
good.
set it up with her.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Okay, thank you.
This is exciting.
Very. Well done.
Okay, other member questions, anything else you want noted? Okay. I have some things to note. In June, we'll be having elections because the fiscal year starts July 1st, so we usually have elections in June. So there'll be, we voting for chair and vice chair. We have had the corresponding secretary position on, I don't know, 40 years. This council was created about 40 years ago. And they had chair, vice chair, corresponding secretary, and treasurer. Well, we no longer have the treasurer to vote on. And I was suggesting that we not have the corresponding secretary position. Because those duties have evolved over the years and really there's nothing of content to do with it. So I'm suggesting we eliminate the corresponding secretary and vote on that position. Just eliminate it.
What's the date that we're doing that?
Our June meeting,
June, okay.
that'll be June 8th is our next meeting.
Can I just raise a question? I believe current terms that are expiring run through June and new appointments start in
July
July.
1st, right?
Most boards and committees will wait until, in the event that there's any turnover in membership, they reorganize when they have the new membership.
I do expect two to be changed.
So I guess I would just raise the question, does
So
it make
you're
sense
saying
to
not to have it in June?
So maybe to have
To start in
everybody
July?
who's intending to run for chair and vice chair.
Until people are seated and sworn in, typically, at least the other boards and committees that I have experience with, they will do that once the new members are active on the committee, because they then have the opportunity to take on a role or to vote for.
So when do you have
July.
Because, usually it's fiscal year starts July 1st, so you would have the new
So
chair,
I think
vice chair, whatever, start
the
July.
beginning of the July meeting would be the elections. and then they would just take place right away after those elections. So that would be the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of the meeting, the chair would be whomever is nominated.
So the terms for the members who, their terms in, say, 26, so they would not be there for the July meeting.
Correct. Right. And then in theory, whoever, if there's turnover, whoever's replacing the folks that left would be there in July, so they would also be able to vote.
The ones in 26 would be at the July meeting,
No. So anybody who's
Terms
leaving,
expire in June.
right,
because I do expect some.
right. So anybody who leaves in, anybody whose term is up and does not renew, their last meeting would be the next meeting, which is in June. So
Yeah.
July, we would in theory have the new people to replace those folks. So it makes sense to hold off on elections until the new people are here, so they also have a say.
We don't always have the people right away, but anyway,
I believe that that's why we used to do it as a practice in September. We used to have elections, and the reason being, as you say, new people could start as early as July 1st, but in practice, there always isn't somebody waiting to take the position. But either way, you usually take 1 month off during the summer, either July or August, and that's something that we haven't talked about as yet. And that would give the new people at least a month of getting to know what's going on, and then in September, you'd have the election, so.
okay, so in the past, they
Yeah, so-
usually have it in September.
Usually it's been in
Yes,
September.
a few years we didn't have,
So for a few years we did.
so it was tough to gauge when to have the next one.
So, I mean, I think that makes sense, and you could frankly, we could play it by ear and wait until we're closer to the July meeting and know if there have been, because the appointments, the select board is the appointing authority. So to the extent that vacancies are advertised and appointments are made ahead of the July meeting, in theory, anybody who was appointed would be expected to start attending in July. If there hasn't been, if seats remain vacant, and we could certainly adjust the time frame. But I guess my caution is if you make those decisions in June, it might be premature. My recommendation would be don't make those decisions in June, and we can target July or later in the summer to do so.
So the current officer would remain in until the election in July or August, September.
Carolyn?
You mentioned September previously, but if we don't vote in July and have August off, and then vote in September, the new people don't have a month to get organized and maybe call the previous person to see how it runs and have discussions. It seems to me then it's just an open month where nobody is learning anything. Shouldn't we have the vote in July and take off August? So they have that time frame.
I'm just suggesting that new people coming in, you might not know them. You know, we wouldn't know who they were, we wouldn't know.
Well, I thought we know them in July, doesn't the
Not
select board?
necessarily.
Ideally, yes, appointments would be made before the end of June with the understanding that anybody who is appointed to start serving the term that starts July 1 would be attending their first meeting in July, whatever date you need. I think part of the idea is to make sure, they certainly could. Oftentimes, it's the more experienced members who are the ones who are nominated to serve as chair and or vice chair. I think what I was suggesting, you certainly could have a new member who is nominated, but just to have them be have the opportunity to vote on who will chair the committee. And so waiting until at least July, potentially a little bit later, typically what happens right now, Amanda in my office starts reaching out to anybody whose term will be expiring and asking if they wish to be reappointed. And so the process starts now with the hope that if there are vacancies, somebody says, I'm not interested in being reappointed, we advertise the vacancy and can identify interested individuals in time to appoint them for July 1. So that's sort of the best case scenario. I do think there is a good chance that that will happen and that we would hopefully, if there's turnover, we would have new members by July 1, but certainly can't guarantee it.
Our meeting is July 13th, so that's 2 weeks after.
I think Guido also mentioned, I think there's usually some discussion about the summer schedule, and I think in the past, people have really looked at their calendars and figured out which month it makes sense to take off, so that's the other consideration.
So when do we decide that?
Probably should do it in June,
June.
at the June meeting.
I wish to resign from the board effective today. It has nothing to do with my health. My health is fine. It has a lot to do with my age. I have served on this board for a long time, and we joined the board to advocate for our senior citizens. And now we are advocating, in my opinion only, for the youth. And I just cannot wrap my head around it. So I think it is time for me to resign. And I wish all of you the best. And please remember, this is the senior center. And there is no disgrace and no shame in being a senior citizen. There are tons of advantages, and I now have opportunities to serve in other places where I can continue to do the things that I feel God has called me to do. So I wish you all the very best.
We're very sorry to hear that. We're very sorry to hear of your resignation from the board, and we appreciate your years of advice and oversight and everything. But I do have to say, we're not ashamed of being seniors. We're just in denial. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm in denial that I'm senior. But I'm not ashamed of it. Yeah. So sorry if you get that impression. We were just looking for some retirement to the age of 60, which, 6 people join the senior center. So we're just looking for some valuable seniors to retire.
As just a heads up, Kim's going to do what she can to lower the volume out there, but it might get loud. I would suggest that we just talk fairly loud. The soundproofing in this room is not great. There you go. Kim must have got to him.
Diane, I have known you for many years, and it has been a pleasure. And I know that you are an advocate for our senior citizens. You're a lady of faith, as am I. I'm not ashamed of it. Nancy, I wish you the best.
Thank you. You too.
So where are we for elections? Are we in July, September?
I think not June, how about June?
Talk about it again next
Because I
month.
think that's where it started, was
Yeah,
on the June agenda.
But in that regard, I'm going to once again bring up the idea of reducing the number from 11 to 9 on the council. I'm going to introduce it again. So think about that.
And the point of that is what?
HUD
The point of reducing it is what?
it's a more manageable council. The other surrounding towns, Shrewsbury has 7 on their council. A couple of the boroughs, they have 9 on their council. We're the largest council around. It isn't always easy to find members who want to be on the council. So I thought it'd be an opportunity. The last few years, I've suggested it. Once again, the opportunity arises to bring it to a 9-member council.
That is not on the agenda for discussion today. I think what you could as a council decide, if it's something you want to have further discussion on, to put it on a future agenda. But I would just suggest that maybe before getting into any in-depth discussion, that you determine if you
Does
want.
that require a town meeting bylaw change or something?
That, we would need to understand
Research
that, and if it's just a recommendation to the select board or if there's more to it, so that would be part of it too.
We've discussed this in previous meetings before, Evan and Carol, but we've discussed this before, and we did address that, notifying the select board because they appoint us. So we did address that. So anyways, you wanna think about? So future agenda topics, we have a few.
I'd like to put on the since it's gonna become a select board discussion tomorrow, I'd like to put on the Westborough Community Center Foundation, if I'm allowed to do so,
Do what?
as a future agenda item.
Or do you want, yeah, or you can bring it up under reports, or do you want it as to introduce it as an agenda item?
Well, you tell me where it belongs. I just wanna make sure this group is aware.
Okay.
Cause I also wanna make the friends aware as well.
Okay.
So you tell me where it belongs, I will follow the rules.
Do you have an update you wanna share? I mean, I think you can
I can
raise
just
it
speak.
under the,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, normally Mirtha would be here if she wasn't sick, but the bottom line is we are starting a foundation and town management is up on it called the Westborough Community Center Foundation, WCCF.
just to be clear, we've been kept in the loop
They are
about,
very,
yeah, we're not active, we're not members.
right, to be clear. And we're having sort of our first official meeting today. We have a couple of other people on it, Maureen Johnson, and Sarah. So we're trying to get people from a variety of locations, but our number one goal is going to be to go to town meeting when it's time to vote on the community center, which features the active living senior center on the first floor, the rec center upstairs. Our goal is going to be to raise money so that the burden to the taxpayers of the town is less. And we've had a lot of discussions, with town, and our conclusion is we're going to start by fundraising for the pool, which was turned down, because we think it's a very active and vital way to get people into the center and get excited about the center again. So we're inches away from having our foundation. It doesn't get in the way of friends or anything else that's going on. We're myopically focused on lowering the tax burden of this center to the town when it comes time for the town to vote.
Is this like a 501c
Correct.
plan? Okay.
I know the pool was voted down, so how are you raising money to put a pool in when it's been voted down? And it would have to come for a vote again, I suppose.
Not if we raise enough money.
But if it
The
was voted
funding-
down,
It was the funding that town meeting voted not to support, so if there were outside funds that didn't, it was the funding source required a vote of town meeting. If money becomes available through a grant, through a donation, through the foundation raising money, that would not have to go back to town meeting. It's,
but part of voting it down didn't have just to have money to start it up. Part of it was the group that was going to supply the,
Lifeguards.
lifeguards, thank you, I lose my words. to supply the lifeguards, and what happens if they can't get lifeguards and that pool is there unused? There were other things mentioned during the voting.
Right,
There
So-
would still be continuing maintenance funding that would have to be
Yep.
done.
understood, and that's something that typically I would assume the foundation would consider, in the pool, if they raise enough money to pay, let's say they were successful, raised enough money to pay for the installation of the pool,
Then they'd have to have enough for maintenance also, right?
Well,
potentially, and then there's no immediate additional money available from the town.
Oh, I understand that.
But there are also other models that we have looked at for programming where it's the fees for use of a facility that pay for the maintenance of a facility. So that would likely be the model. That is the model we were proposing for the pool. So we may refine it, but I think the understanding needs to be that those are all factors that we definitely consider on the town side. It would be wonderful for someone to come in and say, we can fund the repairs to the pool. Where our minds would immediately go would be to those very things about, all right, then we need a plan to maintain it, we need to plan to staff it. And
Okay, so long as those are also taken into account.
well, we were very captivated by your presentation, the one that you and Jen gave, that talked about how the funding would go from that point on, which is kind of a self-sustaining model. Our goal is to raise $1 million for the pool and for the room around the pool, and we either get it done or we don't. It's that simple, but we won't know till we ask. And we have, just so that you know where we're headed, we have a list of the 1,300 companies in town. We have them ranked by size. We know who the people are to contact. We also have a list of about 30 different grants that we can apply for as a nonprofit association. So we're just waiting now for our EIN or whatever that thing is so we can fill out applications. So the goal of this foundation, like I said, it's to ease the tax burden and do so by contribution to make this center as potentially vibrant as it can be, with our hopes that when the whole building comes to town, and the senior center being on the first floor, there's also a lot of funding available for that and more grants than you would ever believe available for senior center construction and all of that. So we're trying to look at this holistically and make this a vibrant center without burdening the taxpayers.
Great, sounds great.
We'll see. It works or it doesn't. We won't know till we're out there doing it, right?
That's
You
true.
live, you learn.
And again, just the rationale for the establishment of the foundation, the town as an entity cannot fundraise on behalf of one of our own projects or on behalf of anything. So similar to, you've seen this with the library project, there's a library foundation, they have been doing this. There is a police foundation, fire, they help raise money, and the idea behind this is they are nonprofit entities, they can do this, and there is a clear separation from the town. So while Ev and Mirtha have come and met with the town manager, Kendra, Jen Kirkland, and myself, we are not active participants in the foundation, but we can certainly, as a town entity, share information, keep the foundation apprised as things move along. So that's how this is off to a good start.
So there's no conflict here with her being on this foundation.
No, I think the thing that
I don't want any conflict.
No, it's similar to the, in other communities, there are friends groups. Do you wanna just share that the friends group identified that this was, thank you, the friends group here is the supporters. This was something that they felt beyond what they were able to take on at the present time. So there was an initial conversation with that group about whether or not they had an interest in.
And with this group, because if you all remember, what I was told almost my first day here is that we can't fundraise or do any of these things as a council on aging. And then beyond the scope for the supporters, so that's why we decided to, with guidance, go on our own.
Great, excellent.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sounds great.
I'm not asking anybody for money, so don't.
It's on the record.
On record.
It's a lot of work, so thank you.
Well, we'll see again if we pull it off, and if not, well, All right, you'll make it work. No, I'm kidding.
Then we'll find something else.
I'll find something else.
No, I did look up, it's for 501Cs before. It's a good way to raise money on the side.
Yeah.
It's good, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Our next meeting is June 8th. It should be another exciting one. So, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second? Second motion to adjourn. Daryl? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Good talk.